The metallic screech of her keys against the sleek black Bugatti made Amani's stomach drop. She froze, watching the thin silver line appear across the passenger door like a scar on perfect skin. Her grocery bags slipped from her other hand, oranges rolling across the parking garage floor. "No, no, no," she whispered, her breath coming in short bursts. She'd been fumbling with her phone, distracted by her mother's 20th call that day, and hadn't seen the car parked so close to hers, or rather, so close to the beaten-up Honda she shared with her roommate. Amani glanced around the dim garage. Empty, silent except for the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. She should leave, walk away, pretend this never happened. But her grandmother's voice echoed in her head, the same voice that had raised her in their cramped Chicago apartment. "You own your mistakes, baby girl. That's what separates us from cowards." With trembling hands, she dug through her purse for a pen and the crumpled receipt from the grocery store. She scrawled quickly, "I'm so sorry about your car. I'll pay for the damage." Amani followed by her phone number. She tucked the note under the windshield wiper and hurried away, her heart hammering against her ribs. She didn't know that the cameras had caught everything. She didn't know that the man watching the footage from his penthouse office across the city had already zoomed in on her face, her trembling hands, the apologetic curve of her shoulders. And she certainly didn't know that Kim who never forgot a face, especially one that had touched what belonged to him. 3 days passed before her phone rang with an unknown number. Amani had almost convinced herself that the owner had decided the scratch wasn't worth pursuing, or that they were rich enough not to care. She was wrong. "Miss Amani," the voice was smooth, accented, dangerous in a way that made her skin prickle. "You left me a note." "Yes, I'm so sorry about your car. I can pay for it in installments if—" "Meet me tonight, 8 o'clock, the Lotus Garden in Koreatown." It wasn't a question. "I don't think—" "You damaged my property. The least you can do is face me." The line went dead. Amani stared at her phone, her mind racing. Every instinct screamed at her to ignore the demand, to block the number and hope for the best. But there was something in that voice, a quiet authority that suggested ignoring Kim, who would be far more dangerous than meeting him. The Lotus Garden sat tucked between a karaoke bar and a beauty supply store, its exterior deceptively modest. But when Amani stepped inside, she entered another world entirely. Dark wood panels, soft amber lighting, and the subtle scent of incense. A hostess in a silk dress approached immediately. "Amani," she asked, as if she'd been expecting her. Amani nodded, unable to find her voice. "Follow me." They walked past the main dining room, down a corridor lined with private rooms. The hostess stopped at the last door, slid it open, and gestured for Amani to enter. Then she disappeared, leaving Amani alone at the threshold. The room was elegant and minimal. A low table, cushions arranged on the floor, a single scroll painting on the wall depicting a tiger in bamboo. And there, kneeling with perfect posture, was Kim Hu. He was younger than she'd imagined, perhaps late 20s, with sharp features that seemed carved from marble. His black hair was styled back, revealing a face that belonged on magazine covers rather than in whatever dark business he conducted. He wore a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled to his elbows, revealing forearms marked with intricate tattoos that disappeared beneath the fabric. But it was his eyes that stopped her breath, dark, assessing, holding secrets that would probably get her killed just for witnessing. "Sit," he said, gesturing to the cushion across from him. Amani's legs felt like water, but she moved forward, lowering herself awkwardly onto the cushion. She'd worn her nicest dress, a simple navy blue number that suddenly felt inadequate. "I really am sorry about your car," she began, her voice steadier than she felt. "I know it's expensive, and I don't have much, but I can make payments." Kim Hu raised a hand, silencing her. A server appeared from nowhere, placing small dishes between them, banchan, the traditional Korean side dishes. Another server poured tea. "Eat," he commanded. "I'm not hungry." "I didn't ask if you were hungry. I told you to eat." His tone remained calm, but something in it made Amani reach for her chopsticks with shaking hands. They ate in silence for several minutes. Amani forced down kimchi and seasoned spinach, her throat tight with anxiety. Kim, who ate with practiced elegance, never once taking his eyes off her. "You're wondering why I asked you here," he finally said, setting down his chopsticks. "To discuss payment." A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "The repair cost $3,000. I had it fixed the same day." Amani's eyes widened. $3,000. She'd need months to save that much, even working double shifts at the cafe and picking up weekend gigs at the catering company. "I'll pay you back, every cent, I just need time." "I don't want your money, Amani." He said her name like he was tasting it, rolling it around in his mouth. "You left a note. In my world, no one does that. They run, they lie, they send lawyers, but you..." He leaned forward slightly. "You left your name and number on a piece of paper, trusting that I'd be reasonable, that I'd be fair. Was I wrong?" His smile widened, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Very wrong. I'm neither reasonable nor fair, but I am intrigued." Amani's pulse quickened. "What do you want from me?" Kim, who stood in one fluid movement, walking to the window that overlooked the neon-soaked street below. "I've built my empire on reading people, knowing who to trust, who to use, who to eliminate. And when I saw you on that camera footage, fumbling with your phone, looking so guilty," he turned back to her, "I saw something I haven't seen in years, genuine honesty. I still don't understand what you want." "A debt," he said simply. "You owe me one, and when I decide to collect, you'll pay it, no questions asked." Amani stood, her fear transforming into anger. "I'm not one of your employees or whatever. I'm just a girl who scratched your car. I'll pay the $3,000, but I'm not selling myself into some undefined debt to a..." She caught herself, but too late. "To a what?" Kim, whose voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "Say it." "To a criminal," she finished, lifting her chin defiantly. The room seemed to shrink. Kim, who crossed the distance between them in 3 strides, stopping close enough that she could smell his cologne, something dark and expensive. He studied her face, and for a terrifying moment, she thought she'd signed her death warrant with her honesty. Then he laughed, a genuine sound that transformed his entire face. "Most people are too afraid to even think those words around me, let alone say them to my face." He pulled a business card from his pocket and pressed it into her palm. "Keep your $3,000, but remember, you owe me one favor. And Amani..." His fingers lingered on hers for a heartbeat. "I always collect my debts." He walked past her, sliding the door open. "Someone will drive you home." Amani stood frozen, the business card burning in her hand, wondering what kind of devil's bargain she'd just walked into. She didn't know yet that this was exactly what Kim, who wanted her to wonder. Didn't know that he'd already decided she was far too interesting to let disappear from his world. The game had only just begun. 2 weeks passed. Amani tried to forget about Kim, who and the strange debt hanging over her head like a sword. She threw herself into work, picking up every shift she could at Brew and Bean, the cafe where she'd worked since dropping out of art school. Money was always tight, but at least it was honest money. Her phone buzzed during the lunch rush. Unknown number. Her heart stuttered, but it wasn't him, just a spam call about her car's extended warranty. She laughed at her own paranoia and went back to steaming milk. "Girl, you've been jumpy as hell lately," her coworker and best friend Zara said, wiping down the espresso machine. "What's going on?" "Nothing, just tired." Zara narrowed her eyes. "You're lying, but okay, keep your secrets." She nodded toward the window. "Meanwhile, there's been a black Mercedes parked across the street for 3 days now. You noticed that?" Amani's blood ran cold. She glanced outside and saw it, sleek, tinted windows, idling like a predator. Probably someone who works nearby. "At 3 in the morning when you close, at 6 when you open." Zara crossed her arms. "Manny, if you're in trouble." "I'm not, I promise." The lie tasted bitter. That night, Amani left through the back exit. She'd taken exactly 3 steps into the alley when a figure emerged from the shadows. She yelped, her keys positioned between her knuckles like her mother had taught her. "Miss Amani, please don't scream." The man was broad-shouldered, his face impassive. Mr. Kim requests your presence. Tell Mr. Kim I'm busy. It wasn't a request. Before she could respond, the back door of a car opened. And there he was, Kim Hoo, sitting in the backseat like a king on a throne, his phone in one hand, that same unreadable expression on his face. Get in, he said without looking up. Unless you'd prefer we have this conversation in the alley where anyone could see. Amani wanted to run, should have run, but something, curiosity, stupidity, or maybe the way he'd laughed at her honesty 2 weeks ago, made her climb into the car. The door closed behind her with a heavy thunk, sealing her fate. You've been having me followed, she accused. Protected, he corrected, finally looking at her. You scratched a very expensive car belonging to a very dangerous man. Word gets around. I needed to ensure no one else decided to use you to get to me. Use me? I'm nobody. You're someone who knows my face, who has my private number. In my world, that makes you valuable. He poured amber liquid into 2 crystal glasses from the car's built-in bar. Whiskey. I don't drink with criminals. You will tonight. He pressed the glass into her hand. I'm calling in my favor. Amani's throat tightened. Already. My younger sister is getting married in 3 days. Traditional Korean wedding, very important for family appearances. He swirled his whiskey, watching the light play through it. I need a date. She blinked. That's it. You want me to be your arm candy at a wedding. His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. My family has been pressuring me about marriage. Business associates question my stability. A man my age, unmarried, no romantic prospects. It raises concerns about my judgment, my priorities. He met her eyes. You will attend as my girlfriend. You will be charming, appropriate, and convincing. In return, your debt is paid. This is insane. I don't know anything about Korean weddings. I don't speak Korean. Your family will see right through this. My sister married a Chinese businessman. Half the guests will be international. You'll blend in fine. He pulled out his phone, typing rapidly. I'm sending a car tomorrow at noon. It will take you shopping. Buy whatever you need, dress, shoes, accessories. Everything goes on my account. I can't. You can, and you will. Unless you'd prefer I call in a different favor. I have many needs, Amani. Some far less pleasant than attending a wedding. The threat hung in the air between them. Amani drained the whiskey in one burning gulp, her eyes watering. Fine, 1 wedding, then we're done. Kim Hoo's smile was sharp as a blade. 1 wedding. The boutique his driver took her to didn't have prices in the window. Never a good sign. A severe-looking woman named Mrs. Chen greeted her like royalty the moment she mentioned Kim Hoo's name. Mr. Kim called ahead. He said to spare no expense. Mrs. Chen's eyes traveled over Amani with professional assessment. You have beautiful bone structure. We'll find something that honors both your heritage and the occasion. 3 hours later, Amani stood before a mirror in a gown that probably cost more than her entire year's rent. It was a deep emerald green, the silk hugging her curves before flowing into a subtle train. The neckline was elegant without being provocative, and somehow, impossibly, it made her dark skin glow like polished mahogany. It's perfect, Mrs. Chen declared. Mr. Kim will be very pleased. Amani studied her reflection. She looked like someone else, someone who belonged in Kim Hoo's world of luxury and danger. The thought terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. Her phone buzzed. Kim Hoo, the dress better be green. You look good in green. She spun around, searching the boutique. No sign of him, but she spotted the camera in the corner. He was watching, had been watching the whole time. Amani texted back, stalker. His response came immediately. I protect my investments. I'm not your investment. I'm your fake girlfriend for 3 days. We'll see. Those 2 words haunted her for the next 72 hours. The wedding was held at the Shilla Hotel, a sprawling luxury property that made Amani feel like she'd stepped into a different world. Kim Hoo picked her up personally, arriving in a midnight blue suit that fit him like sin. His eyes widened fractionally when he saw her in the green dress, the first crack in his composed facade she'd witnessed. You look, He paused, seeming to search for words. Acceptable. You look like a mobster in an expensive suit. Accurate on both counts. He offered his arm, ready to lie to my entire family. Not even a little bit. Good, fear keeps you sharp. His hand settled on her lower back as they entered the hotel, the touch possessive and warm through the silk. Remember, you're a graduate student studying art history. We met at a gallery opening 6 months ago. You're intelligent, cultured, and hopelessly in love with me. That last part might be the hardest to sell. His laugh was low and genuine. I'm starting to enjoy your honesty, Amani. It's refreshing in a world built on lies. The wedding ceremony was beautiful and incomprehensible, traditional Korean rituals that Amani watched with genuine fascination. But it was the reception where things got complicated. Kim Hoo's mother descended on them like an elegant hawk, her eyes sharp and assessing. They spoke in rapid Korean, Kim Hoo's responses smooth and unhurried. Then his mother turned to Amani, switching to perfect English. So you're the girl who finally captured my son's attention. It wasn't a question. He's never brought anyone to a family event before. I'm very honored to be here, Amani said, channeling every ounce of poise she possessed. You're American. Yes, ma'am. My mother's family is from Chicago, my father's from Ghana. I never met him, though. Why had she added that last part? Kim Hoo's hand tightened on her waist in warning, but his mother's expression softened almost imperceptibly. Family is complicated, she said quietly, but we choose who we let into our hearts. She patted Amani's hand. Make sure you're choosing wisely, dear. My son's world is not an easy one. As she glided away, Amani turned to Kim Hoo. She knows this is fake. My mother knows everything, but she also knows better than to question me in public. He guided her toward the dance floor as a slow song began. Dance with me. We need to sell this. Amani had never danced with a man who moved like Kim Hoo, confident, controlled, leading her through the steps like he'd been doing it his whole life, which he probably had. Their bodies fit together too easily, her head reaching just to his shoulder. You're good at this, she murmured. I'm good at everything I do. His breath was warm against her temple. You should know that about me. Arrogant much. Honest, there's a difference. He spun her, then pulled her back closer than before. You're doing well tonight, better than I expected. Don't sound so surprised. I can clean up when I need to. It's not about the dress, Amani. It's the way you carry yourself, like you belong anywhere you choose to be. His eyes searched hers. Where did you learn that? From being the only black girl in most rooms I've ever walked into. You learn to own your space or disappear. She met his gaze steadily. I chose not to disappear. Something shifted in his expression, recognition, perhaps, or respect. We're more alike than you think. I doubt that. I don't run a criminal empire. No, but you survive in a world that wasn't built for you. So do I. His thumb traced small circles on her back. Every Korean businessman looks at me and sees a thug playing dress-up. Every gangster looks at me and sees a traitor who got too fancy. I exist in the spaces between Amani, just like you. The song ended, but they didn't move apart. The moment stretched, dangerous and electric, until a drunk groomsman stumbled into them with slurred apologies. The spell broke. Kim Hoo stepped back, his mask sliding back into place. I need to make the rounds, stay close. But Amani was already wondering if staying close to Kim, who was the most dangerous thing she'd ever done, or if walking away would be worse.